It started with a dream. It started with a vision. You know, every dream and every vision needs a team to make it happen. And each and every one of you. But the question I want to ask this evening is that how do we move on from there? How do we pay this forward? How do we now begin to conquer our community? And how do we begin to conquer the communities around the world? And that's what I wanted to talk about this evening. I now feel each and every one of you have gone through leaps and bounds in your own health. But there's something more than that that's come out of this, which we never planned for. And what it makes me think about was Barcelona 92, the Olympics. There was a sprinter called Derek Raymond, okay? And Derek Raymond was picked to be the 400-meter sprint champion. So as the race started, 150 meters inside the race, he fell down in agony holding his right leg. And what had happened is he tore his right hamstring. But because he never wanted to give up, he tried to get back up and he crawled and he tried to get towards the finish line. And a man from the audience broke through security and he came down and he held Derek's hand. Now this man was no other than his father. Now his father goes to him as he was walking, this is on camera, he goes, "Son, you don't have to do this." Derek goes to him, "No dad, this is something I have to do." And his father goes, "Then I'm with you the whole way." And they walked all the way towards the finish line. And just before the finish line, he let go of Derek and Derek finished the race himself. Now for me, this is so important on two levels. Number one, it proved to me that failure is only an option if you let it. But the most important thing which came out of this is when his father came down to hold his hand, for me, that represented a bridging of a generation gap. Now that is huge. And as you look around you right now, you've got people of different ages. People who you never thought you'd be breaking bread with a year down the line. One thing we've been able to achieve this year is the bridging of that generation gap, which I have never ever seen in our community. You see, when you turn up on a Sunday, it doesn't matter how strong you are. You push, you motivate, and you inspire the person to the left of you and the person to the right of you. And that is huge. And you know, that bridging of a generation gap in our community is massive. And for that, you know, all of you deserve a huge, huge round of applause again. Let's go. Let's make this loud because this is massive. The question now is, how do we pay this forward, right? And how is it that we can move on this next year to bring our loved ones and to bring our friends within this movement, whatever they do, but just to get our community, our friends, and our loved ones healthy. And after thinking about it, I think it comes down to three things. I think it comes down to leadership, I think it comes down to our vision, and I think it comes down to our beliefs. You see, each and every one of you here is a leader. I know that, and you know that. And what is a leader? A leader is someone who empowers, pushes, and motivates someone else. But the most important part of empowering is stories. And the most important story you can tell is your own story. Because that's what moves people. And each and every one of you in this room has a story. You have a story of where you were last year and where you are now. And what each and every one of you need to do is home in on that story and tell that story. Because that's what's going to bring people in. That's what leaders do. Second thing is vision. If you're going to bring people in, what's the reason you're doing this? What's your vision? Do you know what my vision is? My vision is that our community and communities around the world, we can pray standing up when we're 80 years old. My vision for our community and our communities around the world is that as we grow older, we're not dependent on other people. And you know, in our community, my vision is that as we get older, the amount of chairs at the back actually go down as opposed to going up. So my question to you is, what's your vision? Because you need such a clear vision if we're going to take this forward next year. And the third thing is beliefs. You see, I think sometimes that we're negative by default. And our community, very much so sometimes. That we're brought up with really, really negative beliefs when it comes to health. You see, if you went in your garden and you wanted to get rid of the weeds, and if you cut them, they'd grow back, right? You've got to get rid of them from the roots. We've got beliefs like you're going to get unhealthy when you get older. You're going to have to sit on the chair when you get older. You know, you're going to be dependent when you get older. You can't exercise when you get older. You can't run when you get older. How can we prosper with beliefs like this? But the only way these beliefs can change is by each and every one of you going out there, empowering them with your stories, becoming a leader, and having your vision. That's how we can change beliefs. The elephant, right? And yet you go to a circus sometimes, and the largest of animals is actually held back by a tiny little chain, which even if he wanted to with his foot, he could flick off, but he never does, because he knows inside he can't. But he can really, right? Because when he was younger, they put that little chain on him and he couldn't escape. But as he got older, he believed that that chain wouldn't let him go. So even now, he still believes the chain won't let him go. So he's held in, even though the animal has grown, the chain hasn't. But it's all about belief, right? And if we want to penetrate our community, we've got to become leaders, we've got to have vision, and we've got to change our beliefs. You see, but the world status quo's changed, right? It used to be, ask and you shall receive, right? But it's changed now. It's about give and you shall receive. It's about giving, it's about giving, and it's about giving. And if we want to pull people into this movement, your loved ones, your friends, it's all about giving. It's about going and giving your vision, about going and changing beliefs, about going out and becoming a leader. Because we've got a product to sell, right? What's the product we're selling? Health. Such a valuable product, but we need people to buy into it. But you see, we can't just go and bring people in, and if they say no, we let them go. We've got to be relentless in this mission. And you know how relentless we need to be? We need to be like the cookie. And some of you thinking, what do you mean by the cookie? You know, I'm not talking about the cookie in the jar, I'm talking about the internet cookie. Now, how many of you have gone on the internet to buy a product and at the last minute you change your mind? And what happened? That internet site cookied you. It cookied you and it followed you everywhere you went. You couldn't let go of that product, and in the end you succumbed and you bought that product. And that's what we need to be like. We need to go out and we need to pull people in. We need to really give, and we need to make this happen. You see, because like any business owner, if you believe in your product, you shout from the hills about how important this is. And we're selling the most valuable commodity in life, right? We're selling time. We're selling valuable time growing up. We're selling time with your family, quality time with your children, quality time with your grandkids. Why? Because that's what health buys. And this is our product. And you know what our KPI for this is? Is how many lives we change. And that's what we need to judge ourselves on next year. So each and every one of you now, it's your duty. That you've done it for yourself this year, but next year becomes about others, about our community, about communities worldwide. Because that's the only way this is going to change, is each and every one of you now make this happen. But I want to thank everyone over here, because without you, the year wouldn't have happened. Your commitment, your dedication, absolutely amazing. So thank you so much for that.